All right, I'll try to not take too much time, but I'll try my best. So I'll talk about how I got into programming, and it all started with a grad student who taught me how to code on Java, and I was able to type in "Hello World," and he called me a programmer from now on. So that was pretty awesome. And I had to take a class for my engineering degree for MATLAB, and last time I remember, it was a pretty bad experience because it was not user friendly. Like I didn't know what mistakes I made when I was coding, and the professor didn't really contribute to my learning experience, so I had to teach everything by myself. And I dreaded the experience of coding until like at the very end, where I had to make a final project of making a clock that runs on its own, and it felt really satisfying. And like just seeing the end product as a final, like it was really great. And I really wanted to get into programming, but it was at the end of freshman year, so there was really no chance of switching major into computer science. Fast forward to like 4 years later, like I graduated with my engineering degree, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do as a career until I look up computer science degrees, and most people say that I can't really get a second bachelor's as a computer science, but I found out about Hack Reactor, where you guys talk about, oh, people graduate for after 3 months, making six figs, and I was really skeptical about that until I talked with my friend who works at Google. He also graduated from a coding boot camp. It's called App Academy, and that's where I started to think that Hack Reactor is legit. And I dabbled onto a bunch of free sources like Free Code Camp, CS50, Code Academy, and my interest for coding like came crawling back in very slowly. And I started to see that Hack Reactor is a really good opportunity to start my career as a programmer, or specifically web developer. And I was debating like whether I should make that change and go all in until I showed my girlfriend one of my finished products from CS50, and I seeing her playing around with it makes me feel very, how to say it, very satisfied or accomplished. And that's when I decided, okay, I want to go all in. I want to become a programmer for life. So I wanted to get into Hack Reactor. I don't think I feel prepared just by studying on my own, because I've fallen into so many pitfalls when I dabble into like Code Academy, because I don't think it prepares me enough for the interview. So that's why I decided to go into remote prep. And yeah, that's it for my presentation.
Awesome. Thanks, Raymond. Any questions for Raymond? CS50 is an awesome course. I don't know if you guys have poked around in there. Really interesting intro to computer science. David Milan, the instructor at Harvard, it's an open source class, and just really exciting. Like he's an amazing teacher and just does a great job of talking about computer science concepts. And Raymond, was it your Scratch project that you were showing to your girlfriend?
No, it was actually a Mario pyramid that I showed her.
Awesome.
She was, like, playing around with the numbers and stuff, and like, if she wanted to make a pyramid, I just had to modify the code.
That's awesome. You'll have to share the link so we can all check it out. Is it up on GitHub or?
It's actually on my Dropbox. I could just share it with you guys.
Yeah, you should throw the link in the Slack so we can see what you made. That's an awesome project. That'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to do the next 10 minutes, just a really quick talk about variables, and then I'm going to pass you over to Zan for the setup of the build system, and then we're going to cut you loose. Hopefully all this is going to happen 9:30, 9:45 at the latest. So let me share my screen. Okay, so let's see, we'll go to terminal again. Clear. Go back to the home directory. So let's go straight here. We'll list the directories. We want to go back to the desktop. There's that folder I made yesterday. So let's go back into it. See, all we had in there was that script and an HTML tag. Let's just open up this folder. Okay. I'll just keep this one open. So if I do something and comment out yesterday's code, if I do something really basic, var a equals 1, I can console log a. Doesn't gonna be mind-blowing to anyone. But what's going to print out in the console? You guys just type in the chat. What? Right. Nothing super exciting there. If I say what's going to print out now? We can just hit it in the chat one more time. Okay, everybody else, right? So now you said 1 and a. I want to unmute and tell us why you decide that.
Well, actually, I'm actually thinking now that A might not print out because it should have quotation marks in it because it's a string.
Right. If I had done this,
yeah,
then we would have said, exactly that. It would print out the first one and then it would assign it. Yeah. But without the quotation marks, it's gonna look for this variable A, find it somewhere within its current scope where that variable has meaning, realize that it was just declared a line above it, look for its value, and absorb that value. I want to do a quick little whiteboard here and talk a little bit about what your computer is actually doing behind the scenes. So let me see how awesome my drawing skills are this morning. Okay. That is the variables, and this is your computer's memory. So back there online, let me pull it up side by side here. Okay. Kind of small. We have to move this over some. Okay. So in Sublime, on line 11, I'm declaring this variable A. And somewhere in the computer's memory, it's creating a little box or space, cubbyhole, for this value I'm assigning it to, 1. Then the computer is going to make this association, kind of create a pointer, or people describe it often as like a name tag or a tentacle that is holding on to this variable 1. So later, when I ask for that, on line 14, I ask for the variable A, the computer goes, finds it, and finds the variable, and looks to what it's pointing to, and realizes it's pointing to the number 1. Then the next line down, I declare new variable, and I call it B. And I tell it, I assign it to point to whatever A is currently pointing to. So A, currently pointing to 1, B is going to point to that exact same spot in memory. Back in Sublime. If I then say variable A, so I'm not declaring a new variable, I'm referencing a variable that already exists. Like, hey, variable A, I want you now to point to a new value, this value 3. The computer's going to go back in its memory, find a new little empty cubbyhole for itself, number 3 in it. A now going to be pointing at 3. This pointer is no longer going to be valid. But notice B's pointer hasn't changed. B is still pointing at what it was told to point to, which is 1. So now, what is going to print out? What 4 numbers are going to print out here in the console? You can throw it in the chat. So I have some 1133s, some more 1133s. Okay, now I've got some 1131s, 1131s, and a whoops. So right, it's going to be 1, 1 up here. This is going to log 1 still. This will log 1. Then I change the value of A, so it points to 3. But B's pointer has not changed. This is called being passed by value. So the simple primitives that we talked about yesterday, we talked about strings, numbers, and Booleans. That is the case for all of these values. When we assign it, it continues to point. If I change the value that I've assigned one of the variables to, it changes nothing about other variables that are pointing to a value. When this gets assigned, it looks that up once. It says, what is A currently pointing to? And immediately just starts pointing at it. It has no ongoing relationship with A. Once it absorbs A's value, just moves on with its life. It just takes 1 and it's like, I'm 1 until told otherwise. I can reassign B. I could reassign B down here. And then just like what happened with A, a new little cubbyhole built, points to a 6, B points to that 6, and this pointer is removed. That name tag, that sticker is just kind of pulled off, and now B points to 6. I'm going to pause here for any questions.
So the answer is 1131.
Yes, the answer is 1131. This down here is still pointing to 1. Yes. Good work in there. And for those of you who thought it was 1133, does the logic make sense now as to why and B's value, well, before I did this console log, B's value still is 1? Any questions on why B is still equal to 1? Okay, so without muddying the waters too much, I just want to say this is true for the primitives again, right? Strings, Booleans, and number types, data types. We're going to start talking next week about complex data types, objects that are arrays, which do behave differently. They are passed, their values are passed in a different way. But for right now, for primitives, this is the case. All right, I am going with that. I'm going to delete my drawings and pass it on to Zan to walk us through the node build system.
Alrighty. Share my screen. So if you go ahead and open up Sublime, and I'll go through Atom after I finish this if you're running Atom. So you open Sublime and you go to Tools and then Build System and New Build System. And then you're going to copy and paste the following code. Let me find my Zoom chat. Into that file. So it'll look like that. And I'm going to post a Google Doc that runs through all of this. So if you miss anything, you will have access to it written out later on. And then you'll go to Save As, and by default, this new build system is going to be located in the User Settings folder of Sublime Text. And I'll go ahead and overwrite my current node build. So it's going to say node.sublime-build. And you save that. And let's see. Now, whenever you want to run JavaScript directly from Sublime Text, you can either highlight a section of it, or you can just run the whole file by hitting Command B. And I think on Windows it will be Control B. And then let's see if anyone is trying that, if they have any errors. I don't know if they want to post them in chat, and we can try to do some troubleshooting.
Hey, Zan, while we're waiting for questions too, put like a typo in your code and show us the kind of error messages.
That's a good point. All right, let's say I misspell console. And yeah, it's going to give you a pretty detailed error message. Obviously, conol is not defined, so I can change it back to console. Let's see. If I don't define is script working, it'll give me a reference error.
Are you sure it's Control B?
I'm not. Let's see. If that's not working, you're on Windows?
Yeah, I'm on Windows. Why don't you have the terminal up?
You don't have this bottom pane in Sublime?
Yeah.
Alrighty. It will open once you run the command. I think, let's see.
Hey, Raymond, when you go in your Sublime and you click on the upper bar where it says Tools and Build System, is Node one of your choices now?
It is now.
It is there? Okay, so you did do the installation is there then. It should tell you how, like build with, see Zan's thing where it says the up arrow and then build maybe up on build system. I think it'll tell you what that shortcut is. Maybe it is the up arrow, Command B, but it's just Command B. Oh yeah, there it is. Sorry, build, Command B. That thing he's highlighting right now. That's his shortcut. So on yours, it should tell you what it is too.
Yeah, it says Control B.
Okay. Nick, Windows, that text snippet that Zan posted, that's different for Windows. This is a good chance to do some debugging for you. Go to Google and type in Google node build system Sublime Windows, and it should bring you to quite a few Stack Overflow posts that'll have your answer. But if you aren't able to find it, let us know, and I'll jump in your Hangout and make sure it gets set up.
Let me grab that. Yeah, it will have to be a different path. I think you. All right, so 1 second, and I will see if I can find the snippet for Windows.
Rose, are you on Windows as well?
No. So does that test file have to be in the same folder as the node.sublime build?
No. The test, you'll be able to run any JavaScript file that you save in Sublime. You have to save it though, and it has to be saved as a .js file for the build to work. So you can't just open something up and type. You have to save and then build.
Does the
Do you have, when you go to Tools and Build Systems, does Node show up in that menu? Alrighty.
So if you're good right now and you have a build system working, you can break off into your pairs and jump back into the curriculum that we were working through yesterday. Our goal is to get through all of it, or as much as possible today. If you get to the end, ping Zanrai. We have some other stuff to start working on. But if your build system isn't working yet, why don't you stay on this Zoom and we can keep debugging it.
Oh, let's see. Rose, can you type the following command in your command line, echo path, and let me pull up. I'll pull up my terminal so that I can show you what the printout should look like. So I'm going to say echo path, and it's going to give me this long string of different path file paths that are separated by these colons. And if you look back at the contents of the build system, it specifies a certain path, and you want to make sure that that path is contained within the printout of this command. So user local bin. Yeah, I have user local bin right here, and that's where my node is located.
Yeah, it's there.
Alrighty. So another test. Can you type which node, and then make sure that node is also that the file path that leads to node is contained within that first printout.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
User local bin node.
So Rose, maybe you can share your screen and we can look and see what's happening when you type something and save it and run it. You see your error.
Can we copy the code somewhere then?
Copy the Windows code?
No, the code of Zen
Oh yeah.
for Mac.
Do you want the build system or the commands that I just typed?
The build system.
Yes. I'm sorry about that. Let's see. I'll paste it in here. I'm also going to paste it into Slack.
So share my screen. I can do that with Zoom.
Yeah, there's a green share screen at the bottom. And like, again, anybody who has the build system working and is ready to start working, you can drop out of this Zoom, use the same Hangout, be with the same pair that you were with yesterday, and you can kind of pick up where you left off. Up to you if you want to just do the screen sharing with Sublime and your build system now, or you guys want to go back to Cloud9 for some of it, or back and forth between the two. But feel free, if you have a working build system, we're going to jump into pairing now. But stay on the call if you need help setting up your build system.